Hey everybody, so we're getting pretty close to being done with our ColourPop assignments, and I want to give you just a couple instructions on how to actually get those turned in, because if you remember, I have two different things that you need to actually turn in. What's called a PSD file, but also what's called an image, or say a PNG or a JPEG file. The reason being is we want to be able to grade your assignments using the Photoshop file, but then have the ability to print using your JPEG or your PNG files. Okay, so if we're looking back at Photoshop, this is a color pop that I did of me fishing a while back. I've gone through and I've touched up a bunch of things, and I like how it is currently. Okay, so you may have noticed that when you actually go to save, so I'm going to hit File and Save As, this is how you get a Photoshop file. You save using a Photoshop file, okay? So I hit File and Save As. I have two monitors, so this actually went to the other monitor. One sec. You should get a little window that looks something like this, okay? So it's basically, we have the ability to save on the cloud. So if those of you are working at home and want to bring something to school, or vice versa, if you're working at school and you want to bring it home and work on it, you can save it to the cloud, okay? However, for turning something into Canvas, I'm going to save it right on the computer, okay? So when I save to the computer, I'm going to rename this, since my first name is Carl's Big Brown Trout. There we go. So then that is your PSD file. Now, the way that I like to do it is I like to just save it to the desktop. That way I know where it is. Okay, so I hit save, and you should also end up getting an error that looks something like this, where there's just some sort of formatting conflict. You don't need to worry about this. This is fine. I like to have this pop up just so I can talk about it. All you need to do is just hit OK, and it saves it. So then on my desktop, since I am using a second monitor, I will bring this over. You will see a file that looks something like this that says whatever you titled it. So this is my big brown trout. Okay. Now, so that needs to be turned in, and that needs to be uploaded to Canvas. You should know how to do that by now. If not, shoot me an email. The next thing that we need to do is we need to save an image. The way that you save an image is not actually by saving, but it's called exporting. So it's like you're exporting a PDF, for example. So I'm going to hit File, and I'm going to go to Export. Now, as soon as I hit Export, there's two different things that you can see right here. You can see a quick export to PNG. That's just a, I'm ready to go. I need this really quick. That's done. If I hit Export As, this brings up a different menu. Basically what happens is we have the ability to do some last minute changes. So I can actually change the format to either a PNG, a JPEG, a GIF, or an SVG file. Now, I prefer JPEG just because that's a little bit more universal. If you're like uploading photos to, like, say, social media or whatever, JPEGs are just a lot nicer to deal with. Like, more computer software can deal with JPEGs. We can also change the image size. We can do a lot of other stuff. I'm not going to worry about that for right now. This photo is pretty good. So, same thing, we're going to hit Export, and then you will notice I'll get the same window like I'm saving it. This is basically where am I going to spit out my JPEG. So I'm going to double check and make sure I'm on the desktop. That's good. And we're going to hit Save. And then if I minimize Photoshop and look on my desktop, I should have that JPEG file. Okay. Just FYI, I do have a second monitor, so that's why this looks blank. My normal monitor doesn't look this clean. So, all right, that should be it for getting those two files. So remember, for every color pop that you do, you need to submit two files. Okay, have a good day.